So you remember last year when Bumble had this Bumble fumble where they were like, you know full well a vow of celibacy is not the answer. They were like, you're not a nun. Go ahead and bust it wide open. They were doing all of that and we were all like, get off of these apps. It's not safe. They faced a lot of backlash because of this. Lots of women were talking about getting off the dating apps, but there are still some women on the dating apps. There's a content creator named Word Case Scenario on Instagram, and she put out this PSA that was saying that Bumble does not know that no means no. She was saying that women that she knows blocked men on the app, but Bumble recycled those men back into their feed or whatnot. I have been saying get off these apps. They're not safe. But what Bumble is doing is egregious because if these women are saying that they do not want to see these men for whatever reason, Bumble and these men should understand that no means no. Bumble is pushing past boundaries. Anyways, here are the videos from Word Case Scenario. All of this stuff started popping off on April 15th. There are 3 different videos that I am posting. Make sure you let Bumble know, tag Bumble, that no means no. Let them know that.
This is a PSA and a major Bumble alert this morning, unless we're radically misunderstanding something, but I don't think we are. So as you all know, we use the rule block to burn in Burned Haystack Dating Method, and we do that to prevent the apps from recycling men we do not want to interact with. Maybe just because we don't like them, or maybe because they seem kind of threatening and dangerous, okay? One of our group members noticed that she kept seeing men that she had blocked on Bumble, and she was certain she had blocked them, not just swiped left. So she wrote to Bumble to question this, and I want to share their response with you. Here's the email from Bumble, which she gave me permission to share. It says, thanks for reaching out. Bumble will show you people you have swiped left/blocked on in the past, in case you have changed your mind. This is a clear boundary violation. This is women saying no and Bumble saying we'll decide. This is the same ideology that leads some doctors to argue with their patients who want their tubes tied because you might change your mind, or who just won't even do it unless the husband is there. It's the exact same ideology. This is Bumble not understanding that a block is a block and that no means no. Bumble is tagged in this reel. Please share it. Please repost it. Please retag Bumble. And Bumble, if you're listening to this, please explain to us your thought processes here, because otherwise, I think we're done. Hi, everybody. I've got an update to the Bumble situation, and it is wild. Bumble is spiraling right now. They absolutely know what's going on here. I mean, the reel on Instagram from yesterday, and you should take a look at that if you don't know what I'm talking about yet, already has over 212,000 plays in less than 24 hours, and that's not counting what's going on in other social media groups or on Facebook or anything. What we're seeing here is really interesting rhetorically, because we are seeing a corporate level test and apologize from Bumble. And just the way men on the dating apps kind of like spin out and act super crazy when you call them out on test and apologize, Bumble is doing the exact same thing. The encouraging thing here is that this does speak to the power of women's collective voices, because in less than a day, I think we are making some headway here. Bumble has a women problem. All the apps do. And are the other apps probably doing the same thing Bumble is? Yeah, I think they probably are. But Bumble has a little more responsibility because it bills itself as a feminist dating app. And because it did that whole, PR campaign last year when Bumble was like, we hear you, we get you, we're so sorry, when they put up their like totally bananas anti-celibacy campaign. So anyway, let's watch Bumble spiral and spin out in their test and apologize. I've got a lot of screenshots here, and I think I've got them all in the right order. So let's start with this one. This was the original one from yesterday when Bumble flat out admitted that it is recycling blocked matches to women, quote, in case we have changed our minds. Okay, so what happened yesterday was that a bunch of women started writing to Bumble, canceling their accounts, and I'm trying to show you that all of these communications came in yesterday. So things started changing yesterday after I put that reel up, okay? And this is the first message people were getting from Bumble about the fact that they weren't actually blocking. Thanks for getting in touch. We're so sorry to hear that you have come across a profile you previously blocked. We had a look into your account and it seems that everything is working as it should. If you're seeing a profile you previously blocked, this would be because the member has created new accounts, blah, blah, blah. If you believe we should investigate this further, please report them. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. One of the hallmark signs of deception, and this comes out of the practice of forensic linguistics, which is the branch of linguistics that's used in criminal investigation. One of the hallmark signs of lying is when someone gives you way more information than was necessary to answer the question. And this question was a yes or no question. The question that was posed to Bumble was, do you or do you not recycle blocked matches? And Bumble comes back with this convoluted answer that doesn't answer anything because they're lying. Okay, let's see then. Then they started, as the reels ticked up and this got more and more and more shares, they started changing their story. So let's then see what they said next. Okay, here's the next story they started telling. And you can see too, this came in yesterday, April 15th. I also want to say that I got this exact copied and pasted message from several women. So they were sending this out to a whole bunch of people. And this one's even stranger. So it says, thanks for your message. I'm sorry for the delay in responding. We are sad to hear that the app isn't working as expected. This isn't the experience we want. It could be a temporary issue. And then it lays it out as though this was a technological glitch. And it tells women to 1, switch between Wi-Fi and mobile data. 2, update the app to the latest version. 3, temporarily disable your VPN, antivirus, or security software. 4, force close the app and reopen it. Okay, so that's just insane. I also wrote to Bumble myself and asked very clearly, and I said who I was and what I do. And I said, I have one question, do you or do you not recycle blocked matches? And they sent me this response that says, thank you for your message. I'm sorry for the delay. We can't find an active Bumble account. Could you please provide us all these things if you registered with Facebook, blah, blah, blah. And I responded to that and said, I don't have a Bumble account. I just work with hundreds of thousands of women who do. I'm asking a question about your policy, which I am hoping does not vary by account. I'll ask the question again. When women block a man's profile, do they need to worry about seeing it on your app ever again? This is a yes or no question. And then I explained that I'm not asking about whether men can cancel their accounts and start new ones. Like we all know that happens. Okay, sometime after that, after I sent that message last night, Bumble started sending this message this morning. So you can see that's this morning, Wednesday. Hi, my name is Lewis, and I am one of the safety support managers here at Bumble. Thank you so much for your patience while I received your case. I would like to clarify that you should not be seeing someone you have previously hidden or blocked. Okay, remember just yesterday they said, yeah, we do that in case you change your mind. And then there's a few more questions there. This is where they've now, like in real time, currently landed. And I'm sharing the communication they sent to me, but I've had this exact same copy paste sent to me by like more women than I can count this morning. So this is what Bumble's saying now. Hi, Jenny. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. The safety and well-being of our members is extremely important to us. When a profile is hidden or blocked, we restrict access for a member to see that profile. Please DM us if you have questions. We're here for you. Bumble member support. Okay, I hope that that's true. I know they've heard us. That's clear. I hope they're actually changing this policy. And I want to share this, this is from their own Instagram. It's not you, it's us. You deserve better. We're committed to fixing dating, starting with ourselves. Okay, that's right. It's not us. It is you, Bumble, and we do deserve better. Bumble needs to now acknowledge this publicly. pretending that they don't know what's going on in social media while also constantly changing their story every hour over the last 12 hours is not a good look, and it doesn't work with women. Bumble, don't become the toxic man on the dating apps, which you were supposed to protect your clients from. Women are really forgiving, and we want a truly feminist dating app. And we value honesty and transparency. And we're asking for that from Bumble now. Bumble, you need to address this publicly. You need to own what you've been doing, and you need to make it really clear that you are changing this policy, that you are listening to women, that you know that no means no. And when we say we don't want to see a man again, that we really don't. And final message to the Burned Haystack community, good job. This thing has been shared over 10,000 more times just while I was filming this reel. So the message is not stopping, and this is what happens when we all work together. Okay, the Bumble saga continues. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the 2 reels before this one. So many of you have pointed out that there's something we were not dealing with in a critical discourse analysis sense in our most recent communication from Bumble, and you're absolutely right, because you are brilliant critical discourse analysts. So this is what Bumble has landed on in the last 2 days since the haystack got involved, which we are now calling haystacktivism. We're haystacktivists. Okay, so whenever anybody writes to Bumble and says, so are you or are you not recycling blocked matches? They're sending this. Thanks for bringing this to our attention. The safety and well-being of all our members is extremely important to us. When a profile is hidden or blocked, we restrict access for a member to see that profile. So the verb restrict is a little bit slippery, right? Because it doesn't always have a clear yes or no meaning. If someone says they are restricting calories, that doesn't mean they're taking in 0 calories. It means they're taking in fewer calories. So when Bumble says we are restricting access, is that really how we would interpret the word block? So let's actually apply burned haystack methodology to this question, okay? And we're going to use what we call a heuristic, which is a little rhetorical trick. And one that we use frequently in Burned Haystack is called, how else could this have been said? And when this is really powerful is when someone says something or sends you a message and it's not overtly problematic or toxic or aggressive, but you're that's not landing quite right, and I can't figure out why. Here's one we just did recently where one of our community members was supposed to go out on a first date with this guy, and he messaged her the afternoon of and said, would you be mad if we postponed our meeting? And nothing else. And she queried the group and said, he didn't really say anything bad. I'm not sure why this is bothering me, but I just don't like it. It's not making me feel great. So in order to tease that out, we decided to apply the heuristic called, how else could this have been said? And this is what we came up with. So here's how else this could have been said, right? He could have said, I'm so sorry, I need to reschedule. My 8-year-old daughter got sick, but I still really, really want to meet you, and I was excited about our date, and I'm wondering if you would be available this Saturday or Sunday. So this is much better because it's much clearer, right? It makes clear to her his intentions, okay? So that's the power of using this heuristic called, how else could this have been said? So I decided to try to use this with this Bumble situation. So since this isn't really crystal clear with the whole, restrict way of talking about it, I thought what we really need is for Bumble to answer the yes or no question we keep asking, which is, do you recycle blocked matches? When women tell Bumble no, do you respect that boundary, or do you continue to send that same guy, as you yourself admitted to doing 2 days ago? So I wrote back to Bumble and I said, great, I'm happy to hear this. I just want to be sure I understand this in a very crystal clear way so that I don't share inaccurate information with my social media platforms. You're saying, quote, when a profile is hidden or blocked, we restrict access for a member to see that profile. Please define exactly how you are using the word restrict specifically as it applies to blocking. Are you assuring us that if we block a man on Bumble, we will never see that profile again? Because that is what we want. We want Bumble to respect that no means no definitively. If you can answer this in a clear yes or no response, that would be most helpful. And that is when Bumble stopped responding to me. Now, maybe they still will. They're watching this whole thing play out. So Bumble, like, we're still waiting, for this yes or no answer. Bumble is negging us. This is called negging. It's when, like, loser boys see that they have a text, but then they intentionally wait 14 hours to respond to it because they think that that makes women feel bad. And if you make a woman feel bad about herself, then she's more susceptible to, like, exploitation and bad treatment. And it's like a number one tactic of incels. And it's really sad for them. Like, we should feel bad for the incels who practice negging, because incels are pathetic men who can't get women to have sex with them, and it makes them sad, and it's really sad. So that's what Bumble is doing to us. And Bumble has been behaving like an incel throughout this entire debacle, right? They've lied, they've manipulated, they've changed their story, they're gaslighting women, suggesting that it's like a tech problem or that we need to turn our phone on and off again or something like that. So anyway, just to be clear, I want to restate the question for Bumble, which is, do you recycle blocked profiles to women who have already said no? Okay, so Bumble is tagged in this reel. Please share it with your friends. Please repost it as your story. Please retag Bumble. If you comment on it, please tag Bumble so that it's like super clear to them that we're still waiting for this answer.